Hey, how's it going? It's Philip Brady. Thank you for watching. I just wanted to do a quick video on something that I reflected on recently from a session that I was on last Thursday in work. And the session was on unconscious bias and how, I guess, becoming more conscious of how we are biased can kind of make a difference into how we kind of treat people, whether we know it or not. And I just thought that was interesting. But one of the things that came up was around somebody that was participating that commented. And what they mentioned was a story of where, in their previous role in a different company, they were in a team meeting and they all introduced themselves, but then they carried on with their meeting. And this guy was taken aside by his manager after the meeting and asked why he didn't contribute in the meeting. And because this guy is self-aware enough, he knew that his learning style was he was a reflector. And what that means is that when he processes information, different to maybe how you or I do, that he has to take time out to reflect, digest, think about it, and then he's able to process the information. And because he was aware enough about that, he was able to say to the manager, sorry, but I don't digest information in that way. The next time we have a team meeting, because I've had that reflecting time, I'll be able to contribute. And I thought, because of that input, and me as an extrovert, and probably I think it's called an activist, where I learn by doing and trying and like group things and wanting to get up and try things straight away and all that kind of thing. That's how I learn. I just thought it was interesting, the awareness and the difference in how potentially that can introduce, I guess, a label. So if he was not self-aware enough in that interaction with his manager, who said, more or less, you're not contributing, start now or you're in trouble. If he didn't have the awareness of how he learns and that it takes him a while to digest and make sense of information, well, then he might have labeled himself slow or a bad worker, a non-contributor, not a team player, all these kind of things that aren't true. They're just different to how you learn. So you can own that label or give it meaning, but you don't have to. So because he had the awareness, he was able to say, actually, no, I'm a reflector. That's how I process information. And he was able to kind of not take on that label, which I just thought was interesting, because how often do we take on the labels of what other people perceive rather than the reality? And then potentially, do we, like a self-fulfilling prophecy, make it true? So our brain has what's called a self or a reticular activating system, RAS. If you've ever bought a red car or some kind of a car, like let's say, oh, I bought a Ferrari. I didn't, but I'm just giving it as an example. And then you see loads of Ferraris around, or you think of a car that you like. So I saw an Audi today that I really like, and I'd love to get one in a couple of years, not right away. And I saw one because I'm always thinking about them. So that's your reticular activating system. Your brain wants to make true what you think about. So it will give you the evidence or examples to make it true. So hence why people believe that the sky was, or the world was flat, and why when you went over the horizon and the guys gone over to discover America, they didn't think there was anything else past that. Same with the 4-minute mile. I've done a video before on beliefs and how if you hold a belief strongly enough, you can convince anyone of everything. So they thought it was physically impossible for someone to run a mile in under 4 minutes. But Roger Bannister in the 60s, I think it was the 50s or 60s, broke it down and said, if I can run a quarter mile in under a minute, repeat that 4 times, I've run a mile in under 4 minutes. And then in the same year or the year after, high school kids were able to do it. So it's a break in the belief that it's true that gives you the power to do more and I guess realize your potential. So reflecting back on that session last week, I guess it was just interesting to say, do you have labels that you hold to be true about yourself? Are they true? Do you want them to be true? Could you change them for something that's more empowering? What would that be? And then change them, or even just think about them, or how you communicate with other people. So not just selfishly to do that reflection for yourself, but think about how you do it for other people. So let's say I see someone fall over and I say, "You're so stupid you fell over." If they weren't aware enough, they might say, "I am stupid," rather than "I did a stupid thing." Or you say to your child, "That was really silly." It's not you are really silly, it's your behavior was really silly. And that's the difference. So it's like identity here and then behavior here. So how you act is not who you are, it's just how you act. If you become the label attached to that behavior, like if I threw I remember throwing a stone at a car, burned out car in Dublin when I used to live there. I am not a bad person, and I'm not the kind of person that would throw a stone at a car. I just did. Doesn't make me the person I am unless I own that label and become more of that label. And I think that's the kind of lesson is, do you want your behaviors to dictate who you are, or do you want who you are to dictate your behaviors? And I guess don't let someone else's opinion of you become your reality. So that's to you and to people that come in contact with you. Be mindful of what way you describe people to themselves. Are you giving them an opinion? And then could they take that as a self-fulfilling prophecy? And I guess it's just to be mindful of that. I just thought it was interesting to share. If you found this useful or beneficial, or would like kind of other topics or something similar covered in the future, I'd love to hear from you. And I hope that you reflect on the identity and the labels that you carry, assess them, maybe become more aware of them, and then take responsibility to do something about it. Whether you want to change it, keep it, or do something different. Thanks again for watching. I hope you have an amazing day. Thank you.